Hello friends, Empress Dannie here, and we're back with another episode of the Daily Grind. Yes, it's me pouring you up a nice hot cup of joe, right? Getting it piping hot for you, just for you, okay? So we can get your day off to a bright and beautiful start. Um, I wanted to say like good morning beauties to you. So I feel a very refreshing energy coming in. The sounds that you hear in the background are called, they're alpha waves, 432 hertz, body regenerator, healing sound bath for mind, body, and soul. So enjoy. But I feel something very refreshing coming in today. Something uniquely refreshing. It could be actual like refreshments, but it just feels like, sometimes you get those unexpected blessings. It feels like it could be something like that. This could be someone coming through, something coming through, or just being able to sense or pick up on that things are changing or transitioning and feeling very accomplished as a result of that. It's somewhat being maybe even unexpected, but it's almost like a sign of God's faithfulness or a demonstration of what happens when you're just faithful, when you're just true to your word, when you just do what it is that perhaps you're supposed to do or you say you're going to do. It's also kind of giving like, sometimes your faithfulness is to the energy, right? The vibration, right? I'm just going to hold my peace, right? I'm going to hold my vibration in a sense, right? I'm going to stay on this wavelength and trust that as I hold my vibration, that change will come. So perhaps in some way it is, but hello, beauties. I just feel led to tell all of you that you're so beautiful today. In case no one's told you, you're so beautiful. And sometimes the things that you go through in life will, you will look at yourself, right? And this does not have to be physical beauty, but the things you go through in life will have you looking at your life like I'm a mess, right? Looking at your business, looking at your finances, looking at your the way that you feel about different things in your life, and really just feeling messed up, right? Looking at those bad relationships and saying, oh, I wasted my life, or I ruined this, or I'm never going to, have this. And today, perhaps there's just something coming through that's reminding you. I hear, who is that? I want to say her name is Alessia Cara, and as you can hear, Danny's got the frog, right? Um, but I just know the song is like, she don't see she's perfect. She don't understand that she's worth it. No scars to you beautiful. I can't remember all the words, but that's the song that I'm channeling right now. So maybe you have some scars, keeping in mind that all scars are not physical. So these could certainly be like emotional wounds, feeling beat up, stuff like that. And sometimes it can definitely, you can focus on the scar and feel like you're not beautiful. Yeah, I hear TLC, damn, I'm pretty, make you feel I'm pretty too. So there could be something about like not realizing your beauty because of the things that you've been through, and there could be something today that is coming in as like a pleasant surprise in some regard or another, that's reminding you that you're beautiful. And if you think about a scar, right? A scar, like this is a scar, right? Had surgery here, had a cyst removed, right? The scar can literally steal the whole show, but in comparison to like the other, like everything else that exists around the scar is usually like so minute, right? It's small, like in terms of like, square footage, the space that it takes up. It's like in a business getting a bad review. It's like one bad review out of a host of, others, amazing reviews. So I kind of feel an energy that's like that. Okay. So whatever it is that you've been dealing with, it just feels like things may have been, rough. There may be a scar, a stain of some sort, but that in comparison to what feels like the mark that you've made on the world, the reputation that you have for just being amazing, it's so minute, it's so insignificant that to capitalize on that, someone it's like they're the problem if that's the case. Anyway, let's jump in and get our messages. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I feel an energy of like beauty for ashes. I remember when my parents' house caught on fire. It's probably been, I can't remember what year it was now, but it's been a little over 10 years now. But that was kind of like one of the things you hold on to. You think, for if you've ever been in like a fire, I remember, sorry, it was traumatic. And I wasn't there when it happened. I was only there for the cleanup, but even that was traumatic for me. After a house catches on fire, and one, they lost everything. Like the house, there was only the structure left there. All of the contents were either burned up, or what people don't realize is that the soot and the smoke are so heavy that the smell literally fills anything else. So there were some things that didn't get burnt, but they either had soot on them that they couldn't clean or get out, or they just smelled so much like smoke. And it's a smell that is so distinct, it's so difficult. It's very difficult too, like even like being there for cleanup, because you have to go through, and if you don't have everything you own inventoried, you have to go through the ashes and the rubble to inventory your property in order for insurance to pay you. Forgive me, because sometimes you won't even realize that you were affected in that way by circumstance. But it took so much. They had to move out while the house was being rebuilt, but we were literally there every day, going through the rubble, trying to create a list and inventory of all of their items so that they would be able to get money from the insurance to replace them. And in addition to figuring out where they were going to go next. And, you know, the beauty of that is, thank God they were insured, right? I don't know, something could be significant about this. But thank God they were insured, right? Because had they not been insured, you know, you're not going through that, but you're starting life over with nothing from scratch. Some of you may not have had fire, but sometimes the things that you go through in life feel very similar. The way in which they just consume, you know, I think about things that consume all your money, that consume all your time, that take all your energy, all your life force. They break you down to the point where you have to start all over. Those are scars that other people don't see. We had to move them to a new place, and then you don't think about furnishing the new place. If you're not moving into a place that's furnished, this was after they were in a hotel, you know, just to have housing temporarily. You had, you know, the expense of the hotel, which insurance reimbursed, thank God. But then going to a house and having to rent the furniture or, you know, pick up consignment furniture to be able to furnish it. But ultimately, in that case, you want to rent because insurance will reimburse. If you buy it, then you plan to take it to your house once it's been rebuilt, and you know, you don't know that the same thing that fits this space is going to fit that space. So it was just a lot of work. It was, and then, you know, you think buying groceries and things like that all over again. And the reality is that some expenses are on you. You know, you got to buy out clothes again. And not just clothes, right? You think underclothes, all of these things, socks, shoes, right? You lost everything. So while if you have a job, right, going to work, so think about, you know, all these moving pieces, kids, stuff like that, you know, not just for yourself, but and then once the inventory is done, choosing a builder, deciding, you know, how you want them to build it, right? Trying to exercise the element of choice, but at the same time, needing to get back into your house, learning it being a new space, right? Wanting that you make sure it's worth it, all of that stuff. But it being chore in a sense, right? Um, and then finally your house is built, and you have to keep all your receipts during that time, anything you buy, because they're going to require a proof. Once your house is rebuilt, then you have to refurnish it, right? So then going through that process again, getting all of the rental furniture back to the insurance company, or wherever it came from, moving out yet again, transporting everything back, and then getting resettled in your home. And even when you get back in there, right, sometimes you surprised because you don't realize there's trauma from what happened before, right? I smell soot, right? Ain't no soot. It's all been clean, you know what I mean? That type of thing. But just the memory of what you went through, sometimes popping up unexpectedly, scars that people don't expect. I remember for a long time, my mom would not do open flames. She don't buy me no candles because she not lighting no candles. It's just too scary to re-experience. But through that, right, it's realizing that with progress, right, I just have to work through this, no matter how I'm feeling, and trust that on the other side of doing so, it'll prove worth it. So I feel like something today is, in one way or another, going to prove to be worth it, because there's some sort of transition taking place today. Okay, it's like transformation. I feel like you're going to receive some sort of a message that I feel like is going to make you proud. Okay, you're going to feel proud. Yeah, I hear proud family, proud family, proud family. They'll make you scream, make you wanna sing. Let's get into this, okay? We have the room, we have the enemy, and we have young woman, okay? There's some sort of message that things are changing, things are transforming. It feels like in your situation or circumstance. So if there's been a fire of life or a breakdown in some area of life, that you just had to kind of like it, in those situations, you just have to work through it the best you can and trust that things will, that it's almost like the darkness will fade, things will clear up, things will get better. And so I feel like in one way or another, that's taking place, okay? There could be something about saving space. I don't know why. Something that you've maybe been hopeful for. For somebody, there's something significant about a lamp, okay? This could be a specific lamp. I'm getting something in particular about a lamp, okay? Something is, and this could be like illuminating. I feel like, and that could just be reflective of like the message, right? Getting a lamp, illumination, receiving lighter insight to what could be something that is coming, okay? What's interesting, I got the haughtiness card at this card on the bottom of this deck, and you guys know I'm not just taking these based on their words. I'm looking more at the images on them. But where I stopped shuffling here, also the peacock, been coming up a lot lately with different contexts, right? I honestly am kind of getting more of a context of like a visual. So something makes me feel like, again, whether there's an actual lamp or whether there is, again, illumination, insight, receiving like something being highlighted, that could be the case. But whether there's insight, light given to or shined on something, it feels as though whatever light is being shined on in a certain area today, it's like if you got eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to be aware of like what could be like, it's going to give you insight to, this could be like direction. I feel like your senses, because a moth is coming to the front of the deck. So it definitely feels as though, like, again, moth obviously is a light receptor. It picks up on light. So something makes me feel like you're going to be feeling your way to something or able to sense or pick up on something. The AM has to do with, again, this sense of like saving space. It feels like, again, shining the light, giving light to something, but this feels, it feels very stable, okay? So, and this could be like having to do with like stability or security, something that you've been saving space for. I feel like light is being given to in one way or another. Keep in mind, these messages tend to cycle back around. So some of you, when you hear the message today, but you don't necessarily see it today, this is why I do the public release that's usually about 5 days later, because what I find often happens is sometimes it's not you. Sometimes the illumination comes to another person opposite you when this energy comes up, and then they maybe take some sort of action, or maybe their awareness or their illumination is revealed to you in that next cycle of energy when it comes back around. So I feel like just be mindful of that. If you don't necessarily see it, it's very possible that could be how it's working. Um, um, but something about, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like being secure about something that you've been, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like holding out for. It just feels like the energy of like, let me just be still, okay? So this could just, again, peace, be still. It could be something that you had to have a peace with. Let me just be still, and it feels like remain consistent, stay grounded, something like that. That's what the AM is it's a regular energy. I don't know why. I literally just heard I'm not trying to keep up with the Kardashians. So it made me feel like something about the AM is just kind of like taking things at pace, doing, there's also something around like, let me just, it's like sweep around my own front porch type of energy. Take care of what's for me to take care of, shine a light, and stay 10 toes down. The afternoon is, this energy came up the other day, but it's like finding out the ego, whether it's yours or someone else, is going to be refreshed, okay? Now that can actually work in a number of ways, right? Sometimes the ego checks itself, right? And when the ego refreshes, it stops creating this sense of separation from God, right? It recognizes its own value, right? Talking about, seeing your scars. This could be where you're seeing your scars alone or working against you in this regeneration, refreshing of energy, has you not seeing your scars, but seeing your value, okay? Hitting refresh in a sense, okay? Sometimes the ego is checked externally. So that could be the case as well, right? Where it's almost as, I can't lie, it's like splashing water in your face. Let me show you some love. Let me help you, let me bring you back to reality. Could be what that is, okay? Either way, I kind of feel like you're going to pick up on this, okay? So whatever it is, ego self-checks, it's refreshing. Light is coming to that. Insight is being given to that, or ego gets checked and it's a cold glass of water in the face, but it wakes you up. We'll just say that, right? It ain't no joke, but it wakes you up, okay? And if you think about that, right, I don't know why it's given like ice bucket challenge, but if you think about like what it does is shock the senses, right? It shocks the nerves. So something could be in the afternoon, and pay attention, right? Because if you're checking your own ego, then you may not have to worry about that, right? But that don't mean you won't bear witness to some other egos externally being checked. The beautiful thing is that when we are around people, in the company of people, or in situations that self-check, then this can be so beautiful, because if ego was working against someone in creating separation, I can't do that, or da 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 da. You know what I mean? Sometimes this is where we fear, right? It's worry, it's doubt, it's getting caught up in the stuff that doesn't even matter. This could come through as very refreshing because it can mean someone who is fearful, or opportunity that you didn't get, that could be being refreshed, right? There could be a wake up that is coming through as refreshing. It says, doesn't allow that separation, that gives light to the fact perhaps that separation is ending in one regard or another. By evening, I see the young woman card in the Scorpion. I can't lie, this is kind of giving like, I don't know why, I just heard The Rock, right? It's going to be significant about Dwayne Johnson. That name can resonate. I'm kind of getting, he says, know your role and shut your mouth. So there could be some significance around that because the Scorpion is one of what? Scorpion will sting, right? But this is less about a stinger. So like I said, somebody could be stinging. In a deeper sense, this is about like somebody, honestly, and for some of you this resonates, this is about somebody who's been stung, and the fact that they've been stung, it has to do with being somewhat private. It has to do with like pulling back, being somewhat reserved, because I know the power of my stinger. I don't want to have to sting anybody. So it could certainly be just being in a position where you are in the company of people who give you the security that you need, allow for perhaps healing in that space is what it feels. People who don't see your scars. I don't know why I kind of feel this energy of like, knowing who you can, I don't feel like you're guarded, but it's almost like knowing who knows your worth, okay? Knowing who values you, and allowing, you could be giving of your energy to those people who value you, because I don't know, like I said, something today is like light is being given to something. You are sensing or picking up on something. This could be someone is saying something, they're doing something, and you just know they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't value me, if they didn't trust me, if they didn't accept me, that type of thing. And I feel like because of that, and like I said, this could be the ego in you, but it could be refreshing to an ego that maybe felt separate, felt different, and it's showing you, it's almost like I'm good with them, or in this situation, I don't need a sting. That's what I have for you. Join us on Patreon for extended messages. I love you guys. Actually, we'll be doing the 7-day messages today, so I hope that you'll tune in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We'll talk again soon. Bye.